Hello EGP learners, and welcome to this episode of Tip Thursday, where I look at the Nottingham LMC app, ideally suited to support any GP, regardless of what stage they're at, as well as one of my top 5 apps for you to use. So let's technology enhance your primary care learning. If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm Dr. Gandalf of EGP Learning, where I look at supporting you with technology enhanced primary care and learning. And in this episode, we're going to have a walkthrough of the Nottingham LMC app designed by my local medical committee, and it's a really useful resource to effectively collate resources, tools, guidance, all that kind of stuff that you may want to use no matter what stage of general practice you are working in or what environment you're working in. For the full video, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube platform, Facebook, or you can contact us on @EGP Learning. And as always, guys, subscribe, comment, share, and let's tech enhance your primary care and learning. See you later. Bye. Hello EGP learners, and welcome to this episode where we look at the Not LMC app. So you can access this either through the Nottingham LMC local medical committee page, as you can see here, or you can just search for it on your app store, because it is available both on Apple and Android devices for Not LMC. And when you open it, you'll be greeted with this. So I'm using the BlueStacks platform to have a look at the app so you can see in a bit more detail. And as you can see, it's got 9 dashboard kind of sections for you to have a look at. I'm going to go through each of those in a little bit more detail. The first and foremost one is the guidance section, which is one of the really useful things about this app. So if you click on it, it takes you through to all the various guidance that is provided for by our local LMC. And as you can see, some real hot topics there in terms of firearms information, which has taken a lot of headlines recently, CQC, education, fees, GP contract, various different things. And these are split either into the hot topics or in terms of latest information. And as you can see on the latest information, it was last updated in October 2018. So very well upkept information and things. If we go back, then we can see various other sections that we can access. So in terms of resources, which is the second one across in the middle, and this is basically split into resources for various different sections of what part of general practice you may be in. So whether you're a partner, registrar, manager, and some posters. So if we just go through those in brief, so the GP partner section is actually really useful information in terms of, how to create partnership agreements, general medical services, so you can actually look at the GMS contract, which as a partner, if you've not read, although it can be very dry reading, useful to know in terms of what you're actually contracted to provide. And there is obviously a lot of work going on at the moment in terms of what GP should and should not be doing and the impact that can have. Additionally, there's further information in terms of what kind of stuff you can look at financially, as well as accessing the formal list and some further tools to support you and things. Next up, we've got resources for GP registrars. So this links into various different parts of the training aspects and things. So publications, information in terms of the GP trainee subcommittee. And interestingly, in Nottingham, they've created their own subcommittee that GP trainees can engage with and hopefully to have better engagement with the LMC. Resources for practice managers. So this links into loads of really good quality information in terms of HR, service provision, protocols, all that kind of stuff. Massively useful for things like CQC inspections and stuff. And lastly, there's a poster section with useful posters for you to stick up in your waiting room to give information to patients and stuff. The next section along is a dedicated section for sessional GPs. So as I said earlier, that this is an app that can be used for any GP, no matter what stage that you're at. And there's a clear focus in trying to support sessional GPs. So that's your salaried and locum GPs. And lots of useful information in terms of contract information, how to see what a contract is, the model, BMA contract information and things, as well as information about finance and guidance. So tips that you can use in terms of working as a sessional GP, locum agreements guidance. They can't give you clear cut, here's an agreement as such, but they give you guidance creating your own, and information that you may want to access, like the GP locum handbook and stuff. And there's the news section. So this is a separate section looking at various news formats, so blogs, features, media, that kind of stuff. Admittedly, this probably isn't as well kept up to date as some of the other sections, apart from the actual news tab itself, which is not too bad. And as you can see, so there's some information there in terms of other kind of resources and things. But yeah, really helpful and effective. Next up, we've got the contacts and useful links. I guess this is the section that's more relevant for Nottingham-based GPs, because this does only link into Nottingham-based information. But if you type in your postcodes, for example, if we go to NG3, right, NG3, 3GG, which is my practice postcode, Then it brings up various information in terms of your local CCG information, where it is, that kind of stuff. And if you click onto it, it gives you links to your LMC representatives for that area. I guess this could do with some updating. So, for example, I'm one of the LMC representatives in that area, but it's not listed, and that probably just needs a little bit more updating than some of the other sections. The events section, really useful. So it focuses on LMC events that are up and coming. So we've got a couple in terms of the practice manager forums, and particularly the NOTS LMC annual conference, which is at the end of January. Slight sidebar on there that if you want to attend, feel free to come to my session, which is a social media masterclass for GPs. More than welcome to have any of you there, particularly obviously focused more for Nottingham-based GPs. But, others, you're welcome to join us and stuff. The last three sections, in particular, is quite useful, is the shop library. So this is sharing of other practices and stuff. And this links to what other kind of areas have been doing in terms of supporting practices, innovative ways of trying to tackle things. So it mentions snippets of information from practices across the country and locally. So, for example, in operational stuff, we've got access to records, for example, triage services, examples from that, physio first kind of services and that kind of thing. So, if you're a practice looking to try and innovate the way that you may be working, particularly in terms of things like working at scale, that kind of stuff, there's lots of useful links and stuff for you to have a look at to involve yourself and things. Our services is a section whereby the NOTS LMC showcase the services they offer to their member practices. So this is things like added value services, CQC prep, really useful resource if you're a practice that wants to understand what a full CQC inspection may be, and they even offer mock CQC inspections as well. Access to the LMC buying group to try and hopefully reduce some of your costs, and information about GP premises, professional services, and the GPS service, which is the GP support service. Really good service. The feedback I've heard from colleagues who have accessed it has been unbelievable in terms of mentoring and trying to help GPs effectively function. And I know that this service has prided itself on being able to help maintain and retain members in working in the area because of the support they've been able to offer to people. And that's linked very much with the last kind of section, which is the Wellbeing tab. And this is probably the most developed tab because it then splits off into 6 other areas and stuff. So things like financial help and debt, and looking at sort of resources and things to help you with those kind of aspects. Also, we've got the Tea and Empathy link. So this is a link to the group called Tea and Empathy, as well as various other resources like blogs, social media groups, websites, podcasts. Guys, EGP Learning Podcast, always welcome for you guys to have a listen and have a look. And various other kind of things that you may want to explore and look at in terms of resources. It's also got 5 ways to wellbeing, which, there's a lot of focus at the moment in terms of resilience building and wellbeing for GPs because it is quite challenging at this moment in time. Latest news section, which you may want to just go to straight away, or in the surgery, and that's kind of things in terms of links to how you can improve yourself working within surgery if you have particular challenges. So quite useful for your appraisal and revalidation. So links to things like time management skills, managing challenging patients, scripts of words that you can say if you're trying to finish a consultation quickly, for example. And also links to the GP Portfolio Plus, which is another added value kind of system that the LMC offer to GPs in the area to support them with their portfolio careers, which actually many of us still do, even partners and things. You could argue many of them have portfolio careers with working with CCGs, LMCs, education and other kind of areas and stuff. So this is a whistle-stop walkthrough of the LMC, Nottingham LMC app. I hope you found it useful. I find this one of the most effective apps you can actually access, and I haven't been able to find another LMC that's been able to provide such a useful system. So quite proud that my own LMC has done this. There are other LMCs that have created apps. So the Londonwide LMC have created their Beam to LMC app, which actually has a really useful function that this one doesn't, which allows you to take information that you may have come across, such as a problem with a local hospital divulging, delegating work to you inappropriately, for example, or service challenges, and then you can just take that information and quickly beam it to your LMC. So that's a useful app to have a look at if you're London based, but it'd be quite nice if we could have that kind of functionality in the NOTS LMC app as well. But aside from that, it's awesome, if I'm being honest. Really recommend having a look, and I would highly recommend that any GP has this kind of app on their phone. Definitely if you're Nottingham based, because obviously there's a lot more resources if you are based in the Nottinghamshire area. But if you're not, actually there's still really good resources and links in there. And a lot of the external links do link to the BMA websites. They are linked to national guidance rather than just specifically local guidance and things. So highly recommend this app. Definitely rated one of my top 5, and do have a look at it. It's free, so you don't really have any excuse for not doing so, and it is available on all major systems and stuff. I hope you found that useful, guys. As always, if you want to contact us and feedback in terms of what you think about this app and whether you agree, disagree with my assessment and stuff, or whether you think there's other functionality that needs to be added, we can obviously try and feed that back to the LMC and stuff. But feel free to download it if you want to have a look. If you want to contact me for anything else, obviously contact us at EGP Learning, and make sure you subscribe to follow all the future videos that we have, including on our YouTube or Facebook platform. And always, guys, comment, share, and let's technology enhance your primary care and learning. See you later, guys. Bye.